Well, well, well. Looks like Christine Baumgartner has officially tied the knot. Again. Yep, the ex-Mrs. Kevin Costner just said "I do" to financier Josh Connor in what People magazine calls a romantic Santa Barbara wedding. And according to the guests, there wasn't a dry eye in sight. Cute, though. To be fair, some of those tears might have been from people still recovering from her headline-grabbing divorce settlement. The ceremony took place at the ultra-private Santa Ynez Ranch, because when you say you want something intimate, naturally you book a 100-acre vineyard. Nothing says low-key and authentic quite like a backdrop of rolling hills, designer gowns, and a guest list curated by publicists. Christine wore a custom Mira Zwillinger gown, hand-embroidered, of course, and later slipped into another designer dress for the reception. Because who can possibly celebrate new love without a wardrobe change and a few perfectly lit photo ops? Meanwhile, her new husband, Josh, rocked a classic tuxedo and a grin that says, "Yes, I'm the guy who followed Kevin Costner." The whole thing was described as authentic, heartfelt, and so very them, which is interesting considering this is the same Christine who just a year and a half ago was in court fighting her Yellowstone star ex over who got to keep which house key. But hey, everyone deserves a fresh start, and Christine clearly wanted hers with a new man, a vineyard view, and just enough privacy to let People magazine publish an exclusive spread. Still, you have to wonder, was this wedding really about love, or was it about moving on just a little faster than expected? Because for someone who once said she needed time to heal, Christine sure healed faster than a Hollywood PR team after a scandal, but that's not even the most interesting part. Because when you look closer at the timeline and the man she married, you start to see why this authentic love story might just be a little too picture-perfect to believe. And it all starts with where she came from. Not the vineyard, but the mansion she used to share with a Hollywood legend. It's funny, isn't it? 1 minute, you're living in a $145 million oceanfront estate with Kevin Costner, Hollywood royalty, red carpets, private jets, the whole 9 yards. And the next, you're walking barefoot on a vineyard pretending you've suddenly discovered simple living, Christine. Baumgartner's latest reinvention tour hit full stride. The moment she swapped out Malibu luxury for what the magazines are calling a rustic, heartfelt ceremony. Guests described it as authentic, intimate, and so very them. Which, let's be honest, sounds like PR code for, we tried really hard to look humble. Because sure, there were no fireworks or Hollywood extravagance this time around. Just 100 of their closest friends, a designer gown, and a 100-acre private ranch in Santa Barbara. You know, the simple kind of wedding every down-to-earth couple dreams about. And let's not forget the symbolic setting. Santa Ynez, right in the heart of California wine country. The perfect place for a fresh start, or maybe just the perfect backdrop for an exclusive photo shoot. After all, Christine has always had a knack for blending authentic moments with picture-perfect timing, but here's what really makes this chapter interesting. Because while Christine was out here, curating her rustic fairy tale, the man she once called her forever, Kevin Costner, was quietly minding his own business. No staged romance, no soft-focus wedding photos, just a man working, living, and staying miles away from the drama. It's a sharp contrast, really. Kevin, understated, calm, probably somewhere on set shooting another Oscar-worthy scene. Christine, twirling in a vineyard, declaring that she's finally found peace. But if this wedding was supposed to prove that she's moved on, the details might say otherwise. Because the timing, the location, and even the low-key vibe, they all seem to tell a story that's just a little too perfectly staged. And that brings us to the new leading man in Christine's life. The financier who appeared right on cue just when her last act with Costner faded to black. Ah yes, Josh Connor. The man, the myth, the financier. A title vague enough to sound respectable, but mysterious enough to make everyone ask, so what does he actually do? Josh is, according to the press, a private wealth manager. Basically, the guy who helps rich people stay rich. And in Christine's case, well, he seems to have managed to invest in something far more personal. Their story reportedly began sometime in mid-2023, right around when Christine was finding herself post-divorce. The two were first spotted together in Hawaii, which, coincidentally, is where a lot of people go to forget about court battles and property settlements. At the time, insiders swore they were just friends, because nothing screams just friends like a beach vacation months after one of Hollywood's most expensive divorces. Then, a few cozy public outings later, and surprise, they were official. Now, let's talk timing. Kevin and Christine finalized their divorce in February 2024. By January, Christine was already flashing a brand new engagement ring courtesy of Josh. That's barely 11 months between finalizing a divorce and planning a proposal. Love moves fast. Or maybe some people just hate having an empty +1. To be fair, Josh seems like a nice enough guy. Successful, well-connected, and conveniently available right when Christine needed a shoulder and a bank account to lean on. And honestly, who can blame him? He landed a woman who once shared a mansion with one of Hollywood's most iconic men. But here's where it gets a little too neat. Their relationship timeline reads like a well-planned PR recovery arc. Divorce finalized, healing period, new love, engagement, redemption wedding. It's almost as if Christine's entire post-Costner era was designed to prove one thing. She's doing just fine without him. Still, for a relationship that supposedly blossomed out of nowhere, it's hard not to notice how perfectly the puzzle pieces fit. The friendship before the romance, the accidental beach proposal, the glowing magazine exclusives, it all feels just a touch too polished. But if you really want to understand why this whirlwind romance has people side-eyeing their calendars, you have to look at the timeline. Because when the dots are this close together, even the tabloids start connecting them. Okay, let's line this up. Because even the most romantic stories start to look suspicious when you put them on a calendar. July 2023. Christine Baumgartner is spotted in Hawaii, supposedly on a friendly getaway with Josh Connor. Just months earlier, she was battling Kevin Costner in one of the most public and awkward divorce showdowns Hollywood's seen in a while. Court filings, child support debates, mansion drama, the works. But by midsummer, she's already sipping cocktails on the beach with a financier buddy. Healing vibes, right? Fast forward to January 2024. Josh pops the question in Santa Barbara. Barely a year since she finalized her split from Costner. Barely enough time for most people to finish unpacking emotionally. But hey, when love or optics call, who needs time? According to insiders, it was a romantic surprise on the beach. The same type of beach Kevin once filmed romantic scenes on. You can't make this stuff up? Then, October 2025. Boom. The wedding. A full-blown vineyard affair with People magazine on speed dial. The ceremony's described as heartfelt, intimate, and filled with joy. Sure, but for many fans watching this unfold, it feels less like a fairy tale and more like a strategic sequel. Because let's be honest, Christine didn't just move on. She fast-tracked it. Divorce finalized in February, new love confirmed by January, and now, barely 2 years later, she's walking down the aisle again. That's not a slow burn. That's a sprint, and the internet noticed. Social media has been quietly buzzing with side-by-side comparisons, from Costner to Connor, pointing out how similar the names are, as if Christine didn't even want to stray too far alphabetically. Some fans even joked, guess she just updated the monogram. But under all the jokes and sarcasm, there's an unspoken truth. Christine's timeline doesn't read like a woman accidentally falling in love. It reads like someone rewriting her narrative. Carefully, quickly, and very publicly. And while Christine's been busy rebuilding her happily ever after, her ex-husband, the man she spent nearly 2 decades with, has been taking a very different approach. Quiet, dignified, almost too calm. Which, of course, makes the contrast even sharper. While Christine was curating her Pinterest-perfect vineyard wedding, Kevin Costner was busy doing what legends do, minding his business and collecting wins. No staged beach proposals, no teary magazine exclusives, no designer gowns in sight. Just a man in his 60s, cool as ever, rebuilding his empire one film at a time. Since the split, Kevin's been thriving in that quiet, classy way only he can. The guy didn't post cryptic quotes, didn't fire back in interviews, didn't pull a rebound photo shoot. Instead, he poured his energy into Horizon, an American saga, his ambitious Western project that's been years in the making. Because when your ex is getting remarried, nothing says I'm unbothered like directing, producing, and starring in your own multi-part epic. And fans noticed. Online, Costner's been getting the kind of respect that comes when you handle chaos with grace. The internet dubbed him the definition of dignified divorce. He didn't chase headlines. The headlines came to him. He showed up at film festivals, smiled for the cameras, and then went right back to work. No pity party, no theatrics, just purpose. Meanwhile, Christine's every move screams, "See? I'm happy too." And that's fine, she deserves happiness. But Kevin's calm silence has a power to it. It's like he doesn't need to prove anything. After 18 years of marriage and public scrutiny, he simply walked away and let time speak for him. Even when rumors tried to drag him back into the spotlight, whispering about how he felt seeing Christine move on, Kevin didn't say a word. No comments, no statements, just class. Because that's what happens when you're Kevin Costner. You don't clap back. You just keep winning. And maybe that's what stings the most for Christine. Because while she's out there celebrating her new love under twinkle lights and PR-approved adjectives like authentic and heartfelt, Kevin's just existing in peace, unbothered, unpressed, and undeniably legendary. But don't worry, Christine's wedding had enough heartfelt details and tear-filled moments to keep People magazine busy for weeks. Let's take a closer look at that intimate ceremony everyone's talking about, and why some fans aren't buying the fairy tale. Now, let's talk about the wedding itself, or as the internet's calling it, the most ironic love story of 2025. Christine Baumgartner and Josh Connor tied the knot in what insiders described as a heartfelt, intimate celebration. Heartfelt, maybe? Intimate? Sure. If you ignore the dozen paparazzi lenses conveniently hidden in the vineyards. The ceremony took place at a private estate in Napa Valley. Because apparently, nothing says new beginnings like saying "I do" surrounded by rows of $500 bottles of Cabernet. Guests described it as romantic and low-key, though the decor screamed, "I miss being married to a movie star." Think soft white roses, rustic lanterns, and a color palette that whispered, "I definitely didn't Google elegant winery wedding ideas last week." Christine reportedly walked down the aisle in a sleek, minimalist gown, which some fans pointed out looked eerily similar to the one she wore during a photo shoot back when she was still Mrs. Costner. Coincidence? Maybe, or maybe someone's trying to rewrite a chapter while keeping the same aesthetic. And Josh? Well, he kept things classic, a tailored navy suit, that "I'm the calm after your storm" expression, and a smile that said, "I survived Kevin Costner's alimony calculator." Even more interesting, a few mutual friends claimed there was an emotional moment during the vows, when Christine thanked Josh for being her peace after chaos. Let that sink in, because fans sure did. One Reddit comment summed it up perfectly. She divorced Kevin for chaos, found chaos, and then married the guy who watched it all unfold. Oh, and get this, not a single Costner kid was spotted at the event, not one. Sources say the wedding invitations were kept tight, but many think it's less about intimacy and more about avoiding awkward toasts. Still, the couple reportedly ended the night dancing under string lights, surrounded by laughter, champagne, and people pretending not to check TMZ under the table. If there's one thing the internet never misses, it's a dramatic sequel. And Christine's wedding? Oh, it became an instant headline buffet. The moment the photos dropped, social media split faster than Christine's prenup negotiations. On one side, you had the "let her live" crowd, fans posting messages like, "She deserves happiness after what she went through," and "everyone moves on differently. At least she looks genuinely happy now." But on the other side, the comments section turned into a roast pit. TikTok stitches were brutal. One creator even captioned her video, "From Yellowstone to wine country, Christine sure knows how to pick her next investment." Ouch! Twitter, or X, if anyone still calls it that, was even harsher. One viral tweet read, "Imagine divorcing Kevin Costner, crying over spousal support, and then marrying his buddy with better tax planning." And under every wedding photo, you'd see the same mix of clapping emojis, followed by the word "rebound." Some fans pointed out that Christine's whole new chapter feels more like Chapter 2, sponsored by alimony. Others defended her, saying that people forget she spent nearly 2 decades in Kevin's shadow. And maybe this was her chance to finally be seen as more than just Kevin Costner's ex. Meanwhile, Costner fans rallied hard. Memes of Kevin smiling on a boat, shooting new movie scenes, or posing with his rumored girlfriend went viral under hashtags like "Chambro dodged the drama" and "Chune's legend energy." One fan wrote, "Kevin Costner's out here making westerns while his ex is making headlines. Tell me who really won. Even celebrity blogs joined the fun." Page 6 called it a picture-perfect PR moment, while Dumois' followers weren't convinced the timing was purely romantic. Several claimed the wedding felt like an image rebuild disguised as a love story. Still, there's a strange balance to it all, a mix of sympathy, shade, and schadenfreude. People can't decide whether to feel sorry for her or pour another glass and enjoy the show. While Christine's vineyard vows made headlines, Kevin Costner didn't need to say a word, because silence, as always, was his best PR move. The man who once rode across the plains in Dances with Wolves now glides through life with the same effortless cool. No press statements, no snarky interviews. Just Kevin, living his best unbothered era. Days after Christine's wedding, paparazzi caught him boarding a private jet, tan, smiling, looking like a man who traded chaos for peace and came out ahead. Fans called it revenge serenity, because while Christine was busy planning her authentic ceremony, Kevin was in the middle of his next major project, both professionally and personally. His film horizon has been earning serious buzz, and insiders say he's already moved on romantically with a woman who's nothing like Christine. Translation: drama-free. It's poetic, really. Christine once said she wanted a simpler life, and now Kevin's the one living it. Minus the court battles, minus the emotional headlines, and definitely minus the $129K monthly child support payments that made everyone gasp last year. Hollywood insiders even noted how Costner's post-divorce glow-up has been chef's kiss. He's leaned back into what made him a legend. Good films, quiet confidence, and the ability to turn heartbreak into headlines without ever opening his mouth. As one fan wrote under a recent Instagram post of Kevin by the ocean, Christine got the vineyard. Kevin got his piece. I know who won. And that's really the story here. Not who said I do, but who said nothing at all. And still came out on top. Because in the end, Kevin Costner didn't just survive the breakup, he turned it into a masterclass on how to let grace, success, and a little silence do all the talking. And so, as the sun sets over that Santa Barbara vineyard, Christine Baumgartner begins her new chapter, one filled with rustic romance, perfect lighting, and a man who knows his way around a portfolio. But somewhere, miles away, Kevin Costner's riding a quieter wave. No headlines, no hashtags, just legacy. It's funny, isn't it? She got the fairy tale. He kept the plot, because while Christine was walking down the aisle, Kevin was walking into his next act. Still the man, the myth, the movie star who doesn't need a wedding to prove he's winning. In Hollywood, love stories come and go. But legends, they stay unbothered. This is Spill Pop YouTube channel, where celebrity fairy tales meet real-world karma. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell, because the next Hollywood heartbreak is already being written.